Hello everyone, Skippy here, and welcome to One Piece episode 1040, directed by Katsumi Tokoro and supervised by Shuichi Ito. As we continue on with the Straw Hats versus the Tobiroppo, it looks like Jinbei's fight will be getting a lot of love thrown at it, as veteran director Katsumi Tokoro is the one taking the reins of it, and despite his flippy-floppy quality, looks like he's on the better end this time with a fairly solid-looking action board. And on the other side of things, Shuichi Ito will be handling the art side, as a strong and competent lineup of animators that includes none other than our own Chu Young-seo make sure that the intense and visceral action from the manga is done its justice and more. So will episode 1040 be as every bit awesome as it sounds on paper? Let's end the Shark Week and find out. This episode covers the remainder of chapter 1018, including stuff that was slightly adapted last week. And I have to say that this time around, the rather straightforward approach of just bringing the manga to the screen in terms of plot progression works really well. And also just finds some cool ways to expand upon what was already on the pages a little bit without going into full-on filler territory, which might have been a little more appreciated if they did, since the episode sadly does use flashbacks a fair bit. And while I wasn't really bothered by the Nami and Zeus one, I was kinda not digging the Jinbei one, even if I got the intention behind it. I don't think it really dampens that the script and Tokoro's execution make it feel like a more than adequate translation of the original chapter, with fitting music choices at that I'm always a champion for. Maybe there could have been a little more oomph from the final moments of the fight instead of feeling kinda limp and sudden like the manga, but this is still a win in my book. Tokoro, like I've said time and time again, is rather hit or miss with his boards, but it's really obvious when he puts a ton of ideas into one of them and really enjoys making it. And that's something that's ever so present in his board for 1040, as there's just a lot of little small but cool ideas, whether it be simple little expressions like Zeus mimicking a cat when asking to be Nami's pet, or some of the really awesome action ideas, or just general compositions. And regarding the action too, there's just a really nice but not too overdone sense of scale within this fight that really does help the locale feel far less flat than it may seem due to past episodes, and allows the array of animators on the episode, including Dorian Kuran, and of course the newly minted chief supervisor who corrected him and animated on his own as well, Chu Young-seo, to do some really cool and visceral bits of animation that do the manga action justice and then some, with a fair bit of background animation in some cuts, and in all just a sheer visceral nature to it all. Top that all off with Shuichi Ito's corrections as always, just adding an overall polish to the episode, and 1040 isn't wow amazing, but it's a pretty good episode all in all. The flashbacks do bring it down a peg, and Tokoro could have maybe done a little bit more with some of the action despite doing it well in the first place, but it wasn't too out of this world and it wasn't too subdued either, and I think that's really fitting and appropriate for this fight, especially considering that this isn't the end of the action, obviously. Now, where will next week's episode 1041 go in that regard? I'm not sure. The last episode from Shimaya that also had Nakashima as part of a board wasn't all that great, though that was due to the episodes that were surrounding it for sure. So I'm really interested to see if this rather normal looking episode can prove to be much better than that when all is said and done. Anyways guys, that's it for now. I'm Skippy, and they tricked me into thinking we'd be getting a reanimated Sun Pirates flashback, man.